जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees. especially His Holiness Sri Krishna Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. Please bless me, Maharaj. I can speak something on Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, entitled Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. And a part of the purport of Shloka number 36 will be discussing, and subsequent speakers will also discuss the other parts. But let us chant the verse together. Etavad eva jigyasyam tattva jigyasunatmanah अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम यत्स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा एतावद् एव जिज्ञास्यम् तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम यत्स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा एतावदेव 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 जिज्ञास्यम् तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम यत्स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. Mataji's. एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम् तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम यत्स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. We'll read word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Kindly repeat after me. Etavad, up to this. Eva, certainly. Jigyasyam is to be inquired. Tattva, the absolute truth. Jigyasuna, by the student. Atmanaha, of the self. Anvaya, directly. Vyatirekabhyam, indirectly. Yat, whatever. Syat, it may be. Sarvatra, in all space and time. Sarvada, in all circumstances. Translation. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this, in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. Purport. To unfold the mystery of Bhakti Yoga as it is explained in the previous verse is the ultimate stage of all inquiries, or the highest objective for the inquisitive. Everyone is searching after self-realization in different ways, by Karma Yoga, by Jnana Yoga, by Dhyana Yoga, by Raja Yoga, by Bhakti Yoga, etc. To engage in self realization is the responsibility of every living entity developed in consciousness. One who is developed in consciousness certainly makes inquiries into the mystery of the self, of the cosmic situation, and of the problems of life in all spheres and fields: social, political, economic, cultural, religious, moral, etc., and in their different branches. But here the goal of all such inquiries is explained. The Vedanta Sutra philosophy begins with this inquiry about life, and the Bhagavatam answers such inquiries up to this point, or the mystery of all inquiries. Lord Brahma wanted to be perfectly educated by the personality of Godhead, and here is the answer by the Lord, finished in 4 nutshell verses from Aham evasam evagre to this verse, Etavad eva jigyasyam. This is the end of all self realization processes. Men do not know that the ultimate goal of life is Vishnu, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, due to being bewildered by the glaring reflection in the darkness, and as such, everyone is entering into the darkest region of material existence, driven by the uncontrolled senses. The whole material existence has sprung up because of sense gratification. Desires based principally on the sex desire, and the result is that, in spite of all advancement of knowledge, the final goal of all the activities of the living entities is sense gratification. But here is the real goal of life, and everyone should know it by inquiries put forward before a bona fide spiritual master, expert in the science of Bhakti Yoga, or from a living personality of Bhagavatam life. Everyone is engaged in various kinds of scriptural inquiries, but the Srimad Bhagavatam gives answers to all the various students of self realization. This ultimate objective of life is not to be searched out without great labor or perseverance. One who is imbued with such sincere inquiries must ask the bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession from Brahmaji, and that is the direction given here. Because the mystery was disclosed before Brahmaji by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the mystery of all such inquiries regarding self-realization must be put before such a spiritual master who is directly the representative of the Lord, acknowledged in that disciplic succession. Such a bona fide spiritual master is able to clear up the whole thing by evidence from the revealed scriptures, both direct and indirect. Although everyone is free to consult the revealed scriptures in this connection, one still requires the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and that is the direction in this verse. The bona fide spiritual master is the most confidential representative of the Lord, and one must receive direction from the spiritual master in the same spirit that Brahmaji received it from the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. The bona fide spiritual master in that bona fide chain of disciplic succession never claims to be the Lord himself, although such a spiritual master is greater than the Lord in the sense that he can deliver the Lord by his personally realized experience. The Lord is not to be found simply by education or by a good fertile brain, but surely he can be found by the sincere student through the transparent medium of the bona fide spiritual master. The revealed scriptures give directions directly to this end, but because the bewildered living entities are blinded by the glaring reflection in the darkness, they are unable to find the truth of the revealed scriptures. For example, in the Bhagavad Gita, the whole direction is targeted towards the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. But for want of a bona fide spiritual master in the line of Brahmaji or the direct hearer Arjun, there are different distortions of the revealed knowledge by many unauthorized persons who just want to satisfy their own whims. Undoubtedly, the Bhagavad Gita is accepted as one of the most brilliant stars in the horizon of the spiritual sky. Yet the interpretations of this great book of knowledge have so grossly been distorted that every student of the Bhagavad Gita is still in the same darkness of glaring material reflections. Such students are hardly enlightened by the Bhagavad Gita. In the Gita, practically, the same instruction is imparted as in the 4 prime verses of the Bhagavatam, but due to wrong and fashionable interpretations by unauthorized persons, one cannot reach the ultimate conclusion. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, shloka number 61, it is certainly said, Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam riddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. The Lord is situated in the hearts of all living beings as Paramatma, and He is controlling all of them in the material world under the agency of His external energy. Therefore, it is clearly mentioned that the Lord is the supreme controller and the living entities are controlled by the Lord. In the same Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, shloka number 65, the Lord directs as follows: Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishasi satyam te prati jane priyosi me. It is clear from this verse of the Bhagavad Gita that the direction of the Lord is that one should be God-minded, a devotee of the Lord, a worshipper of the Lord, and must offer all obeisances unto Lord Krishna. By so doing, the devotee will undoubtedly go back to Godhead, back to home. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I again seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees. This is a great responsibility and also a great fortune that these are the 4 original verses that were spoken by Lord Krishna to Lord Brahmaji at the beginning of creation. And an unfortunate person like me is getting such a big fortune to speak on one of those shlokas. So it's the fulfillment of the human form of life to get a chance to explain to you based on the teachings received from Srila Prabhupada and his followers about what does this shloka actually mean to us in modern situation. So especially again I would like to seek the blessings of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. Thank you, Prabhu Maharaj. So in the Bhagavatam many times it will be mentioned that Krishna's beauty is so attractive that many times it is described the devotees make the eyes as the cups, and through the cups of their eyes they drink the beauty of Krishna. So the beauty form of the Lord is fulfillment for the sense of sight. The wind that touches the body of Krishna is so fragrant that many devotees come to know that Krishna is passing this way, or sometimes devotees come to know that Krishna has passed this way by the fragrance of Krishna's body. And then sometimes while playing games, it is described, the Gopas, they're walking with Krishna in a group, and as they're walking, sometimes there are trees in the forest. And so the Gopas, while walking ahead, they're constantly looking at Krishna on the side. He's walking with them. And sometimes there is a tree in between, and for a split second, they cannot see Krishna. And they end up saying, Krishna! Because they're so eager to constantly see Krishna that for a moment. And then sometimes Krishna also plays a game that Krishna will run ahead. Sometimes he wants to check the situation of the calves or the cows. And then the Gopas take this as an opportunity to play a game. That aham purvam. I will touch Krishna first. Then they'll run and touch Krishna first. So beauty, touching, sensation, the fragrance, Mahaprasad of Krishna is always very attractive. So many stories about how Krishna's prasad, all the Gopas are sitting in concentric circles and they want to have prasad with Krishna. And also hearing Valgu Vakyaya, Madhuraya Gira, Valgu Vakyaya, Buddha Manogyaya. The gopis are singing that Valgu Vakyaya means Krishna's words are so sweet. Madhuraya Gira, the language is so sweet. Buddha Manogyaya, Pushkare Kshana. Buddha Manogyaya means the words that Krishna speaks are very pleasing to the buddhi and the man, the mind and the intelligence both. So we can see how all the 5 Gyanendriyas, they get their fulfillment in Vrindavan. Anyone who has ever offered a single emotion to Krishna, it could be a foundational emotion like gratitude, or it could be the different levels high above, bhava, rati, prema, and all that. So any emotion you offer to Krishna, Krishna is such a sensitive person and Krishna is such a grateful person. He remembers the small feeling which was in some small corner in Putana's heart of maternal mood. That Krishna caught on to that maternal mood and neglected the physical activity. Usually when we judge people, we will remember the physical actions and we will forget the mood of that person. But Krishna remembers the mood of the person and totally disregards the physical activity. So the senses find fulfillment in Krishna Lila, the mind finds fulfillment in Krishna Lila. And today in today's shloka it is mentioned, even the intelligence will find fulfillment only when connected to Krishna. So the third canto, it describes samshayatha viparyasa. There are some characteristics of intelligence. The first one is called samshaya, or doubt. Means asking a question. Viparyasa means false understanding. And then the right understanding also. So in this way, when we ask a question, if we are on a superficial platform, we'll understand that the person who's asking a question probably did not understand. And that's why he's asking a question. But in the Bhagavatam, we understand, the perspective given in the Bhagavatam is, those who don't understand sometimes don't ask a question. In fact, those who understand and those who want to go deeper, they ask questions. And that's why in many spiritual organizations, we have heard, this is the first organization that I have come to. I'm not a seeker. I didn't go to any other organization. I was pulled at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada by some of his followers. But I have heard that in other organizations, when somebody speaks, and then one person will raise his hand to ask a question, then the collective glances that people around give to him is almost on the level of Muchukunda. So, he almost feels put on fire or something. Oh, sorry. I'm not supposed to ask a question. Like Guruji spoke. This Swamiji spoke, and Swamiji spoke so exalted, Swamiji spoke so nicely that I'm not supposed to ask a question. Sorry, I didn't understand that. Whereas, the whole Gita is about questions and answers. The whole Bhagavatam is about questions and answers. Sometimes Shaunak Rishi is asking questions to Suta Goswami. Sometimes Parikshit is asking questions to Shukdev Goswami. And Prabhupada, as the most loyal representative of all the spiritual masters, right from day one, even when his followers probably didn't understand his accent also. Satswarup Maharaj mentions in the Lilamrit that Prabhupada would say, so Sanatana Goswami and Satsarup Maharaj in Leelamrit mentions, many of us did not understand Sanatan Goswami. In the Western world, there is something called as taking a sun tan. There's hardly any sunlight sometimes. So then they go on the beach and take a sun tan. So Satsarup Maharaj mentions sometimes some of the followers of Prabhupada wrote sun tan Goswami. So probably they didn't even understand what Prabhupada was speaking, but Prabhupada made it a point to continue the Guru Shishya Parampara and right from the first class. So any questions? Anybody has any questions? And instead of seeing it as a limitation, actually it's a wonderful opportunity to clear the doubts of the audience. When the speaker is speaking, he is speaking from his level. So there is some transmission. But how much is the reception? So there is always a gap between transmission and reception, and that gap has to be filled up. And that gap can be filled when you ask the audience about any questions, and then they ask the questions based on what they understood, and then you can answer and make it more relevant and make it more understandable, and then that is how you fill up. So Prabhupada is following Krishna speaking to Arjun. Prabhupada is following Shukdev Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. Prabhupada is following Sutta Goswami speaking to Shaunakadi Rishi. That asking questions. And sometimes we have seen how questions are basically, one way to understand where the questioner stands. Because while speaking a class, anybody can speak a good class based on what he has heard from others. And you can just repeat verbatim somebody else's classes. Or sometimes you can make notes from some book and speak a class. But actually, how much has that person really understood? In one sense, it is revealed by his answers to on-the-spot questions, because you cannot prepare for on-the-spot questions. And another is, which questions does this person ask to other speakers? Because questions are basically a reflection of your struggles. So somebody who's been practicing for a long, long time, he would most probably not ask a question, how to follow the four regulative principles. And even if he asks, we should understand, probably there is some friend sitting there who is shy to ask a question, and he's asking that question on his behalf. But usually, fairly speaking, somebody will never ask, right? So when somebody asks a question that, how do you follow the four regulative principles, then you should understand that's where his struggle is. That's where that person's struggle is. And then you need to answer it accordingly. So questions also reveal the person's struggle. And that's why it's very important that the speaker makes a bridge with the audience by answering the questions, giving an opportunity to the audience to ask a question. In Canto 4, chapter number 22, it is described how the four Kumaras came to the kingdom of Prithu Maharaj. And Srila Sanat Kumar is speaking to Prithu Maharaj, and he mentions that there are some activities, 6 activities that will increase devotional service. So this is shloka number 22 of chapter number 22 of canto number 4. So he says, practicing devotional service to Krishna, inquiring about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, applying bhakti in life, worshipping the Supreme Lord, and hearing and chanting. The 6 activities will increase your attachment to the Lord, and one of them is inquiring about the Lord. So as a sacred duty, all of us can think about this, that making relevant inquiries. Prabhupada in 4.34 Gita Purport, he says, blind following is not to be practiced. That is a Tadvidhi Pranipatena shloka. Blind following is not to be practiced. So what is the opposite of blind following? Blind following basically means no questions, no inquiries, and because you are saying like that, and it seems that everyone is respecting you, so then I will follow you. But I have not yet accepted your message in my heart. Blind following. And how long will this blind following go on? How long can you follow a person whose teachings you don't accept, whose teachings you don't believe, and you are just following because of a herd mentality? It seems everyone is following him, so let me also follow him. How long will this last? This will last till a storm in your life. A simple storm in your life can shake the foundations of your faith, right? So blind following is not to be followed. We need to make inquiries. And the other thing, the other end of that spectrum is absurd inquiries. Absurd inquiries means, I heard in one class that we need to make inquiries, so now I'll make some inquiry. Just because it was told in the class, we should make inquiries. So then sometimes super intelligent students in college programs, sometimes they ask, if God is all powerful, can God make a round square? Or the typical question which atheists like to ask, can God lift a stone? Can God make a stone that he cannot lift? So if you say he cannot make, then that's a limitation on God. And if you say he can make a stone which he cannot lift, then that's also a limitation on God. But the answer is, yes, God will make a stone that he cannot lift, and the next moment he'll lift it. That is the Supreme Lord, right? So sometimes there are blind following, trying to make a show that we are following, and sometimes there are absurd inquiries. And in the purport to Gita 4.34, Prabhupada writes, in this shloka, absurd inquiries and blind following both are discouraged. Tadviddhi pranipatena. Pari prashnena. It's not prashnena. Pari prashnena means complete inquiries. Suitable inquiries. Not just asking questions for the sake of asking questions. Really asking a question to understand the subject matter deeply. Pari prashnena. And then, of course, gratitude for the teacher, sevaya. So the Gita is based on questions, the Bhagavatam is based on questions. Right in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, in the first chapter, Shaunakadi Rishi have put forward some questions to Suta Goswami, saying, my dear Suta Goswami, please tell us that we have observed the lifespan of people in Kali Yuga is very less. Even if they make inquiries, their memory is very less. And even if they end up asking questions and hearing those questions, but their minds are always disturbed. So in Kali Yuga, the lifespan is less, the memory is less, they are disturbed always. So can you please tell us, Prayana Alpayusha Sabya Kalavasmin Yugajana Mandasu Mandamatayo Manda Bhagyai Upadrita. Upadrita is disturbed. So can you please tell us how to do? What is the solution for all this? Please give us the essence of all scriptures. And Suta Goswami, right in the beginning, he says, Sadhu Munayah Prishtoham. Very nice questions by you. Bhavatbhir Lokamangalam. Only your questions are for Lokamangalam. What to speak of the answers that will follow? Just this question that you asked is such a very nice question. Bhavatbhir Lokamangalam. Yat Kritaha Krishna Samprashno Yenatma Suprasidati. The words that are used are Yena Kritaha Krishna Samprashno. Krishna ke sambandh mein, again that word called samprashno. Kirtan is kirtan and sankirtan is samyak rupena kirtan, complete kirtan together. So samprashno means not just ordinary questions. In second canto, first chapter, there is a beautiful shloka where Shukdev Goswami also congratulates Parikshit Maharaj, because Parikshit Maharaj has asked questions. So there, I think it is Varyan Eshate Prashna, I'm not sure. But in the beginning, the first shloka of the second canto is Varyan Eshate Prashna. Krito Loka Hitam Nripa. Atmavad Sammatah Pumsam Shrotavyadishu Yat Parahat. So somewhere there, Prabhupada writes in the purport, when the birds wake up in the morning, they ask questions about food. When the students go to the school, they ask questions about the subject matter. Politicians are asking questions about different schemes. People in the stock market are asking questions, which shares to purchase today. Old people will ask questions, what are the right pills for preventing diabetes or knee pain and so on, right? So Prabhupada writes there, everyone, the whole world is asking questions, but the only thing is the subject matter is not related to Krishna. And the glory of the Bhagavatam is all the questions are connected to Krishna. So, these questions are very important, and asking questions is something which basically should be our attitude. One of the popular figures in modern times is the founder of Apple Corporation. The products of Apple, iPhone, iPad are very popular, and they are the ones who are considered to be very creative. So the founder, his name was Steve Jobs, he's no longer with us in this world. But he gave a commencement address. When the new batch of 2005 started, he spoke an address. Although he himself is not a graduate. But seeing his success, he was called. And then he mentions in that Stanford University commencement address of 2005, he speaks how at one point of time he started the company Apple. And then he invited a great salesman to join Apple as a team. And over a period of time, the person whom he had invited took over the company. So 3 years, the founder of the company, because of the situation, had to leave the company. So Steve Jobs had to leave the company. And all of us can imagine, we start a company, we start something of our own, and imagine the person whom we invited to join our company arranges situation in such a way that we have to leave the company. It was a heartbreaking time for Steve Jobs. And he says, probably those were the toughest times of his life. And he also mentions in that address how when he was a young boy, because he did not have much money, the only good food that he would have once in a week was the Sunday feast at the local Hare Krishna temple. So he has a lot of gratitude for the Hare Krishnas, and then he mentions how those 3 years were really very tough for him. And he didn't give in. He didn't give in to the situation. He didn't give up his hope. So during that time, somehow he met some friends, and then he started another company, which is called the Pixar Animation Company. And it seems, I'm not into the details, but it seems that it is one of the best animation companies. They make the best animation movies today. But that company was founded during his dark times. And that was a time when he mentions he also met some really good people in his life. And over a period of 3 times, the situation turned around. The person who made him quit his own company had to lose, or something happened to him. And then Steve Jobs again joined Apple. And then when he joined Apple, then iPad, iPhone, and all the other products started coming. And now Apple is one of the topmost companies. So in that short video, he's appealing to the students of Stanford University that he uses a term. He says, stay hungry, stay foolish. And Stanford University is one of the top 5 Ivy League universities. So when you're talking to those students, stay hungry, stay foolish, it has to be understood in a context. It's like talking to IIT Bombay students, stay hungry, stay foolish. So basically, stay hungry means you should always have a hunger for knowledge. Should always be hungry. I want to read more, I want to learn more. There is never an end to knowledge. And stay foolish means always believe that I don't know, and always ask questions, always be inquisitive. So he mentions there that this attitude of stay hungry and stay foolish is something that helped him go through the dark tunnel in his life, and not only go through the dark tunnel in his life, but make a big turn around in Apple and transform Apple from a small computer manufacturing company to a whole range of digital products that are really very attractive and that are really very praised. It all happened because of this attitude, stay hungry, stay foolish. So, not that only the Bhagavatam, the living Bhagavatas, the person Bhagavatas are requesting us, stay hungry, stay foolish. It's not just Suta Goswami, it's not just Shaunakadi Rishi, it's not just Arjun. Even for mundane success, it seems you're always supposed to ask questions. So in the Bhagavatam, we'll just quickly go through. Shaunakadi Rishi, he hears from Suta Goswami how Parikshit Maharaj, one day when he was moving around in his kingdom, he saw a Shudra dressed as a king, and he was harming a cow. And Parikshit just could not tolerate all this. Parikshit just jumped from his chariot, took out his sword and said, how can you do this? You cannot hurt a cow. And then there's a conversation, and then what eventually happened is that Parikshit did not kill him, and Parikshit allowed him to live. So Shaunakadi Rishi, they find this very intriguing, and they say, how can a cow killer not be given capital punishment? And how can somebody like Parikshit Maharaj, a Rajarshi, not know this? So please tell us how this low person who was hurting a cow was left alive. But there is a catch. They say, Yadi Krishna Kathashrayam. Please tell us this topic of how a criminal was let free. But who is asking? The sadhus, the rishis and the munis. So what business do rishis and munis, sages have with a king not punishing a criminal? They don't have any business to do with that. But yes, the connection is Parikshit is the grandson of Arjun, the dearmost devotee of Krishna. So they say, Yadi Krishna Kathashrayam. If you feel this Katha has some connection with Krishna, please tell us. We are interested in that. So Prabhupada in that purport also, like in today's purport, Prabhupada mentions that actually sociology, politics, current affairs, all these are mundane things and they actually contaminate the consciousness. But Prabhupada writes, the sages of Naimisharanya were interested in all these topics if they had a purifying agent of Krishna there. Krishna is the purifying factor. The first chapter of the Gita, Krishna does not speak. Krishna starts speaking from the second chapter. So in the first chapter of the Gita, which is a part of the Gita, and in all Katha, the recitation of Gita, do we start from the second chapter or do we start from the first chapter? Dharma, yes, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Dharma Kshetra, we start from there. But the first chapter does not have any words of Krishna, so why do we start with the first chapter? So one time they asked a question to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, sometimes there are names of the Pandavas. Yudhishthir is there, Bhima is there, Nakul, Sahadev, everyone is there, Drishtadumna is there. But also, the Kaurava is also there. Kashi, Raj, and Chekitana, and all those words. The opposite side is also described. So what do we have to do with chanting the names of the opposite side, who are basically there, envious of the Pandavas, they want to kill the Pandavas, and here we are, speaking the Gita. So what do we have to do with that? So Prabhupada said, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. Prabhupada mentioned, we chant the first chapter of the Gita. We never look down. Why? Because all those people have assembled on the battlefield and Krishna is there. They may have inimical feelings towards Krishna and his devotees, but they have a connection with Krishna. So anything that is to do with Krishna cannot be contaminated. Krishna is the purifying agent. 7th canto starts with a question. Just in the 6th canto, there are 19 chapters. And in the 18th chapter, it was described how Indra, he worshipped Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu, he went on the side of Indra and he killed Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And then there is a 19th chapter, the Pumsavana way of doing tapasya. So after Shukdev Goswami speaks that, Parikshit hears this, and then there is a whole entire chapter after that. But then 7th canto starts with Parikshit Maharaj not remembering and not asking any question about the Pumsavana sacrifice, but he asked, Shukdev Goswami, Maharaj, you mentioned that Vishnu sided with Indra, and because Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were disturbing Indra, he killed Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But my understanding of Lord Vishnu is self-satisfied. Lord Vishnu is the most well-wishing friend of every living entity. So how can he side with somebody? How can the Supreme Lord be partial? Can you please tell me in detail how the Supreme Lord is not? And one of the shlokas he mentions, please tell me conclusively how Lord Vishnu cannot be partial. And what is the response of Shukdev Goswami? Shukdev Goswami says, Sadhu Prishtoham. Oh my dear king, I am really Sadhu Prishtam Maharaja Haresh Charitam Adbhutam Yad Bhagavata Mahatmyam Bhagavad Bhakti Vardhanam. Very nice question, Parikshit. Although I spoke many things after that, but you caught on. I want to know more about Krishna. I want to know more about Vishnu. Can you please tell me how Krishna cannot be impartial? Very nice. And such topics are Hari Bhakti Vardhanam. Just by asking such questions and hearing these answers, our Hari Bhakti will increase. And then he speaks to counteract this feeling that Krishna is partial towards the Devatas and is impartial towards the Rakshasas. He speaks the story of how Prahlad is actually the son of an Asura, Hiranyakashipu. And just in case you feel that Vishnu is always against the Asuras, how Prahlad is born in the life, in the family of Asuras, but how in all situations, it was Lord Vishnu who protected Prahlad, who is an Asura. So the whole Prahlad and Narasimha story comes as a response to the question that is Lord... So just see, he protected Prahlad, who happens to be the son of an Asura. And which Asura? His arch enemy. The highest, the most blatant enemy of Lord Vishnu is Hiranyakashipu. Unke bete ko bachaya. And on the other side, if again we want another example, there is this son Bhuma. So when Varahadev appeared in this world, Varahadev and Bhumi Devi, they had a son, and then because he's the son of Bhumi, he's called Bhauma. But this Bhauma, by bad association with Banasur, he fell into bad habits. He's the son of Varahadev, he's the son of Vishnu. But he fell into bad association, and then he became an Asura by his habits. So he is called as Narakasur. His attitude, his habits are going for Naraka. So who killed Narakasur? It is Lord Krishna who killed with Satyabhama Devi. So if his own son happens to go on the wrong side, then Lord Krishna has killed his own son, Narakasur. And just one day before the Amavasya of Deepavali, we celebrate Narak Chaturdashi. So Narak Chaturdashi is the day when Narakasur was killed. So Krishna, if there is a need to prove his impartiality, he killed his own son. And if there is a need to prove his impartiality, he protected his enemy's son. So this came up for discussion by the question of Parikshit Maharaj in 7th canto, 1st chapter. In 8th canto, there is a churning of the milk ocean. And how does that whole narration start? Parikshit Maharaj asks, "O great Brahmana Shukdev Goswami, why and how did Lord Vishnu churn the ocean of milk? For what reason did he stay in the water as a tortoise and hold up Mandara mountain? How did demigods obtain nectar, and what other things were produced from churning of the ocean? Kindly describe all these wonderful activities of the Lord." And then the Supreme Lord activities. There are 13 different ways in which Lord Vishnu helps the whole churning of the milk ocean, right from his giving advice to the Mohini Roop. So again and again, Vishnu is helping, and all that sweet description of how the Lord is helping his devotees comes up as a response to the question asked by Parikshit Maharaj. Now comes the sweetest part. We can have so many more examples, but this is very nice. 10th canto, 12th chapter is the killing of Aghasur demon. And after Aghasur demon is killed, Shukdev Goswami, it's the duty of a spiritual master to check whether the disciples are hearing attentively or not. So in a very inconspicuous manner, he says, the killing of Aghasur happened in the Kaumara age of Krishna. And the news that Aghasur was killed was told to the parents by all the Gopas who were a witness of that pastime in the Pauganda age. So Kaumara means from age 1 to age 5. That is Kaumara. And from 6 to 10 age is called Pauganda. And from 11 to 15 is called Yuvaka, Kishora. And then after that is Yuvaka. So if something happened today, and Aghasur was a big demon, his mouth was open like a cave, and his teeth were like plows, and the dirty smell of his breath was coming. His tongue was like a highway. So such a big demon was killed, and Parikshit immediately, wait a minute. How did the Gopas, the friends of Krishna, wait for 1 whole year to speak about this wonderful activity of their friend Krishna to their parents? And if you read the Bhagavatam, 12th chapter, the end verse of the Bhagavatam is, when this question was asked by Parikshit to Shukdev Goswami went into ecstasy. Shukdev Goswami closed his eyes. He lost contact with his external consciousness. He was just so happy to hear this question. This person is hearing so attentively. Why 1 year delay? No other demon's news was given after 1 year. So Shukdev Goswami lost touch with his external senses. With great struggle, so mentioned, with great struggle, Shukdev Goswami brought his consciousness again on the external level, and with extreme happiness, he started answering the question of Parikshit Maharaj. And he says, "Oh Parikshit, you are just so amazing." And then he says, "Shrunushva avahita rajan api guhyam vadamite bruyuh snigdhasya shishyasya guruvo guhyam apyuta." He says, "Now listen very attentively, O Parikshit. I am going to tell you a very big secret." And why am I going to tell you this? Bruyu snigdhasya shishyasya. Because you are very snigdha. Because you are very inquisitive and you are very submissive. Guruvo guhyam apyuta. only when the disciple is very submissive and is very attentive, the guru will speak great secrets. So if the audience is not really attentive and audience is not really inquisitive, you will get minimum benefit from the speaker. Prabhupada would give the example of a cow and a calf. The cow has a lot of milk, and the calf, have you ever seen a calf drinking milk from a cow? The calf will come running and put his mouth to the teats of the cow, and then he'll push. He's like kind of pushing and sucking more and more. And just by that pushing and sucking and more, the cow is actually induced to give more and more. So imagine, some calf comes. This is a hypothetical example. This won't happen. But this calf will come and just, puts his mouth to the teats and then, just tries to lick a little bit and suck a little bit. The cow will say, okay, it does not look like my calf. Maybe he's already satisfied. So minimum will come. Similarly, the great pure devotees, the spiritual masters, have actually infinite understanding and they can actually guide us. Now it's our duty, how much milk can we take from the spiritual master who's giving the Gitamrit, the Bhagavatamrit. So very beautifully, Shukdev Goswami speaks, Bruyu snigdhasya shishyasya. And so many times in the Gita, in the Bhagavatam, it will come, snigdhasya shishyasya. That the quality of a disciple is not knowledge. The quality of a disciple is the inquisitiveness, the eagerness to know more about it. And so here we are seeing how the great devotees of the Lord are asking questions. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, the Rupa Shiksha, the chapter where Lord Chaitanya starts giving a Shiksha to Rupa Goswami. What is the first shloka? The first shloka describes, at the beginning of creation, just like Brahmaji had inquired from Lord Krishna and then had gotten the secrets. Similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also at the Dashashwamedh Ghat in Prayag, he spoke those secrets to Rupa Goswami. But of course, the secrets spoken to Brahmaji had more to do with his managerial duties of running the creation, whereas the secrets that were spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami were bhakti secrets. That is also Srishti, and this is also Srishti. What Srishti? That was Srishti, the creation of the material world. And what Srishti did Rupa Goswami do? Sri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Sthapitam Yana Bhutale. Rupa Goswami was given the Srishti Karya, the creation of establishing an entire bhakti movement. And we all pray that Swayam Rupa Kadamayam. So Lord Krishna told Brahmaji some managerial knowledge. Of course, he gave the Bhagavatam. But more, there was that component also to Srila Rupa Goswami, the Rasa Acharya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave deep secrets from his heart. And when Rupa and Sanatan, in Ramkeli, when they meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the way they behave, they are ministers. They tie a white cloth around their neck and they take a straw between their teeth and they go and request Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Nicha Jati, Nicha Karma, Kori Nicha Kaj, Tomara Agrete Prabhu, Kahite Vasi Laj. We are ashamed of our association, we are ashamed of our activities, please. And they're speaking with such humility. In the last class, just the previous class which His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj gave, Maharaj was speaking on, it was Sanatan Goswami disappearance day, and Maharaj was speaking how Rupa and Sanatan were not proud of being ministers, which they were. Rupa and Sanatan were not proud of their knowledge, which they were. Rupa and Sanatan were not proud of their high lineage, which they were. So sometimes, when we are humble, it is basically honesty, that I am not great. But when a person who is great is humble, that is real honesty, there's real humility, because they have all reasons to be saying that they are rich, they are coming from a high family, they are coming from a ministerial background, but still they did not do. So when they have that white cloth around their neck and the straw between their teeth, and they are saying, we are Nicha Jati, Nicha Karma, Kori Nicha Kaj, like that they are saying, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, Prabhu kahe suna Rupa Sanatan, Dainya chhadi tomara daine fate mora man. He says, O Rupa and Sanatan, I request you to please give up your humility, because your humility is breaking my heart. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that personality who always spoke about this, Trinadapi Sunichena. So he's always advocating humility, and he himself also practiced humility. So when somebody who always speaks humility, who always emphasizes humility, when he tells somebody, please don't become more humble than this because your humility is breaking my heart. You just have to understand how genuine and how deep is the humility of Rupa and Sanatana. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, your humility is breaking my heart. And in one class, I was listening to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was speaking in Bhakti Vedanta manner, this maybe 3 or 4 years back. Maharaj spoke about this point of how, what does it mean that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Rupa Goswami, your humility is breaking my heart. Actually, Maharaj mentioned in that class that when you break somebody's heart, you get access to the innermost part of the heart. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that time, he told Rupa and Sanatan, just by becoming humble, just because you are so qualified. Actually, whenever, the Bengali devotees, Bengal Vasis, they would go to Vrindavan and they would come back. The devotees in Bengal would ask, so did you meet Rupa and Sanatan in Vrindavan? And when they would come, every single Bengali devotee who would meet Rupa and Sanatan and would return back, they would say, we met Rupa and Sanatan and they were ministers in Nawab Hussain Shah's government, and there they are not even sleeping under the same tree, and they hardly eat a little bit and they hardly sleep a little bit, and all they are doing is they are always doing Krishna Katha, and we are really amazed at how they underwent a total transformation. So Rupa and Sanatan, they broke Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya saying, humility is breaking my heart. Maharaj explained that this means they had access to the innermost chambers of Lord Chaitanya's heart, and Lord Chaitanya wanted to establish Vraja Bhakti, and that's Rupa and Sanatan got empowerment to spread Vraja Bhakti all over the world. So many questions by Rupa Goswami, so many questions by Sanatan Goswami before they received Shiksha. The Katha Upanishad, it mentions a very famous line which mentions, Nayam Atma Pravachenena Labhya Na Medhaya Na Bahuna Shrutena Yam Evaisha Vivrunite Tena Eva Labhyas. So this is a line that describes the Supreme Lord, which mentions Nayam Atma, the Supreme Lord, Na Pravachenena Labhya. He is not understood by giving big lectures. Basically it means, you are a big speaker, attractive speaker. Na Medhaya, not by your high intelligence you can decode the heart of the Lord, the brain of the Lord. One very popular scientist in the Western world, he says, I want to know the mind of the Lord. So they have that high goal. In today's shloka it was mentioned, Anvaya Vyatirekabhyam, directly and indirectly. So probably we could count that as indirectly. So there is some credit to that. But na medhaya, not by intelligence, na bahuna shrutena. Bahuna shrutena means you are somebody who is expert in shruti. You have heard all the scriptures. Yam evaisha vivrunate, but the Supreme Lord is revealed to them whom He is pleased with. Tena eva labhyas. So we cannot conquer Krishna by our intelligence. We cannot capture Krishna by the ropes of our mental speculation. But we can capture Krishna with the ropes of love. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we can see how, I'm just thinking of some examples related to this shloka, that Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhya, big time preacher. So we have the example of Vallabha Bhatta. Is a big time preacher. But when he tried to, understand Krishna by not a good attitude, because he was saying, I know better than the predecessor Acharya Sridhar Swami, who was the first worshipable commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not happy with him. Na Medhaya. Medhaya means high intelligence. So Brihaspati is there in Chaitanya Leela, is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya knows all the Vedas, he knows all scriptures, he knows everything about everything, but he could not understand Krishna. And it took Gopinath Acharya to tell him, the person whom you are not able to understand, actually he is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Lord Krishna, right? And as a Grihastha, he spent 7 days instructing a sannyasi. What pride! Can a Grihastha instruct a sannyasi? But he's saying, I know more than you. You may be elevated in your varna, in your ashrama, but I know more than you. So he has such pride in his knowledge, Medhaya. And Shrutena, we can take the example of Sri Tapan Mishra. Tapan Mishra, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to East Bengal in his youth days when he was in Nimai Pandit, there's a Brahman called Tapan Mishra. He had read all the scriptures. But after reading all the scriptures, he could not understand what is the goal of life and what is the way to attain that goal of life. So it's very frustrating. You know everything, but you don't know the goal of it. You know all roads from Bombay. This road goes here, this road goes there. But where do you want to go? I don't know where I want to go. It's very frustrating. So at night, one Brahman appeared in Tapan Mishra's dream and said, the questions that you have are available with a young boy called Nimai Pandit, who has come in the neighboring village. So tomorrow morning, you go to him and you ask these questions. And Tapan Mishra, Bahu Shrutena, he knows everything about everything. But in a very humble mood, he went to Nimai Pandit, who's probably half his age at that time. And he goes to him and says, Bahu Shastre, Bahu Vakye, Chitte, Brahma Hoye. I read so many books, but actually it did not help me. Sadhana Sadhya Shreshtha, Na Hoye Nishchay. What is the highest sadhya and what is the highest sadhana? Na hoye nishchay. I cannot determine. Can you please tell me? And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in a very simple way, he said, it's very simple. The highest goal is to attain love for Krishna. And the highest sadhana for this is Nam Sankirtan. So, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhya, Na Medhaya, Na Bahuna Shrutena, Yam Evaisha Vivrunute. But when these three people, Tapan Mishra, Sarvam Bhattacharya, and Vallabha Bhatta, they gave up that false attitude of pride and I know everything, and they became humble, and they asked, Sarvam Bhattacharya, after spending 7 days trying to instruct Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he understood there's no change of expressions on his face, he says, did you understand? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I understood, but not your explanations. You are explaining like a cloud, and the Vedas are like the sun. They're self-sufficient. And then okay, you explain. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained. So the reality of the conclusions of the Vedas are revealed to those who are snigdha, those who are inquisitive. And any high topic, any high aim, any high goal, you want to be rich, you have to work hard. You have to become a PhD scholar, you'll have to work hard doing research. Similarly, if you want to go high in the path of bhakti, there will be some labor and perseverance. What is our hard work? To earn money, you will have to read more and more about different mutual funds and SIPs and rate of interest and whatnot, right? And to become an expert in intelligence, you will have to go through different libraries. So what is our hard work on the path of bhakti to become a elevated devotee, a good devotee, a sincere devotee? It is basically fight with the tendency of the mind to feel that I know everything. So the more, in the initial days when we come to the temple, the first Sunday feast, we are very humble. And every single line spoken by the speaker is making sense. The challenge is not on the first Sunday feast class. The challenge is after 10 years of attending Sunday feast class. And the challenge is more when you are regularly giving Sunday feast classes. And the challenge is more when you train people to give Sunday feast classes. So the higher you go, the higher is the tendency to feel, now I don't need to learn from anybody, now I don't need to hear from anybody. But we see the highest devotees in the Bhagavatam, highest devotees in the Gita, highest devotees in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, they're always in this mood of asking questions. So a river, wherever it flows, the land next to the river is always very rich, very fertile, and a lot of crop. Anything you put, it grows there. Similarly, we have to arrange a situation where in the Grihastha ashram or in the Brahmacharya ashram, wherever we are, there has to be a constant river of Krishna Katha flowing. So Dhruv Maharaj, he gets the darshan of the Lord, but when he asked the Lord, what does it started with, I want a kingdom greater than the kingdom of my great-grandfather, Brahmaji. But when he starts doing his tapasya and he gets the darshan of the Lord, he completely forgets it. What does he ask for? There's only one thing in Dhruv Maharaj's praise that he asks for. He says, Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvai me prasango bhuyadananta mahatam amala shayanam. He says, Bhaktim muhu pravahatam. I want the association of, all those desires that I had. I understood they were superficial desires. They're not. What I now want is, now that I got you, but I realize I did not take the association of devotees. Now that I got you, I don't know how to deal with you. I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know who your likes and dislikes. So sometimes we feel we will associate with devotees only as long as we get Krishna. Devotees are the means and Krishna is the goal. Dhruv Maharaj is changing that logic, and Dhruv Maharaj is saying, when you bypass the devotees and you get Krishna, you will not know how to interact with him. You don't know how to talk to him. You don't know how to respect him. So you need association of devotees to take full advantage of the association of Krishna when you get Krishna's darshan. So he's saying, now that I got you, I realize I don't know how to, what is right and what is wrong. So he says, please give me the association of devotees in whose midst The river of Krishna Katha, Bhakti Muhu Pravahatam, Pravaha hote rehta hai. The river of transcendental knowledge, the river of Krishna Katha keeps flowing. So just like in this world, the Ganga river flows, the Yamuna river flows, the Godavari river flows, all these rivers flow. And the land next to the rivers are rich. You plant any crop and it will grow. Similarly, the place where Krishna Katha river is flowing, very nice emotions, very nice feelings, very nice attitudes, and very nice actions will take place. So Srila Prabhupada, that's why I started the Srimad Bhagavatam class as a daily event, a daily service that is there to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Why? Because by daily recitation of the Bhagavatam, by daily discussions on the Bhagavatam, there's a river of constant Krishna Katha flowing. And where the river of Krishna Katha is flowing, there the crops of bhakti, simplicity, humility, amanitvam, adambitvam, they will very fast grow. So we are very grateful that all these secrets of how to become a good devotee, how to become a sincere devotee are there in the Bhagavatam. And courtesy Lord Brahma and then courtesy Srila Prabhupada that he translated all those Sanskrit shlokas into English, and we are getting a chance to speak on that. So I'm very, very grateful for this chance to speak on this shloka. Because today's shloka was about questions, I would like to offer this opportunity to anybody if you have any question regarding today's class. Since there is no question, I'll request His Holiness Shri Krishna Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. You would like to say something, Maharaj, about something on this mood of inquiry and inquisitiveness? We would really be blessed to hear something from you. You will have to answer that question. I asked a question that would you like to speak something?
I also asked you a question. Why I have to respond? But I want to. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for highly enlightening, exhilarating, blissful, and elucidating class, illuminating. So you brought out the point made by Srimad Steve Jobs Prabhu that we should always remain hungry and we should always remain foolish. However, we hear that absurd inquiries are condemned. So we're encouraged to be foolish, but we're discouraged to be absurd. So could you kindly share with us how we can discriminate between being foolish and being absurd, how we can benefit from those foolish inquiries and avoid those absurd inquiries?
With your blessings, I would like to, Maharaj is just checking, how much I'm able to explain what I spoke. Maharaj, you are better equipped to answer this. I just speak based on what I've heard. So in English, there are two words. One is childish and childlike. So child is a small boy, and childish means no intelligence, behaving in a very not so right way. And childlike means he's childlike innocent. So he knows what is right and what is wrong, but he's just an innocent person at heart. And childish, when we say he's childish, means does not have much, he's foolish, right? So in bhakti, we have to become childlike. We should not become childish. So similarly, what I understood when Prabhu says, stay hungry, stay foolish, what I understood is, the mood is that I don't know anything. It does not mean we stay foolish. Not that, we don't read the books given by Prabhupada, not that we don't attend Bhagavatam classes. No, we are supposed to be foolish. No, we hear all this, but we understand we cannot understand, we cannot conquer over the Bhagavatam. We have to submit to the Bhagavatam. So the more we know, the more we understand that we don't know so much. Before I came to International Society for Krishna Consciousness, I had, stories about Krishna and Ram are part of Indian Hindu life. And sometimes there are television serials also on the Mahabharata. So I thought I knew Krishna. But I didn't know Krishna as it is explained in the Bhagavatam. Krishna is the most well-wishing friend, always looking at the small little positive service that we have done and always neglecting any faults that we have. I never knew this Krishna. I knew Krishna as a very smart person, very intelligent person, but I didn't know Krishna as the most loving person. So if I thought that I already know Krishna, then it would have been a great harm to me. I would not have advanced. So we read the books, we hear the classes, and the more we know, actually, we understand, oh, this is a revelation. Bhagavatam is a revelation by Prabhupada. So the more I come and sit here for the class, it will get revealed more and more, more and more. And there is more revelation yet to come. So when I read the Gita, I felt, oh, I know a lot about Krishna. Then I read the Bhagavatam, then I understood Bhagavatam has more about Krishna. And then when I read Chaitanya Charitamrita, then certain aspects of Krishna when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking, when he talks to Sanatana Goswami, first he talks about the Aishwarya of Krishna. So there's a chapter called The Opulence of Lord Krishna, Madhya Leela, I think 23 or 24. And then at one point of time, Sanatana Goswami asks a question about the mood of Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so overwhelmed by that question. He catches the hand of Sanatana Goswami while he's speaking to Sanatana Goswami. And he's overwhelmed. And he said, what I spoke is just the opulence. Now I'll tell you about the sweetness of Krishna. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts speaking about the sweetness of Krishna. So yes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about the power of Krishna, how there are so many incarnations, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, they are in different. So all that is there in Sanatana Shiksha. But when the knowledge is about the sweetness of Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu holds the hand of Sanatana Goswami. So, Gita was about the help of Krishna to a very dear friend, and in one sense to help him come out of that situation. Bhagavatam is more about the person Krishna, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is more deeper. It's about the heart of Krishna. And then we come to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowering Rupa Goswami to write the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So then it is like the different emotions in detail about the heart of Krishna. So it's like the person Krishna, the help of Krishna, the person Krishna, the heart of Krishna, and then Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is going deeper, more still into the fine sthayi bhav. There are all these fine gradations. In Sakhyaras there are two types. One is Vishrambha Sakhya and the Shuddha Sakhya. The Vishrambha Sakhya is the Sakhya of Arjun, where there is some awareness of Krishna's opulence. And Shuddha Sakhya is the Sakhya of the Gopas of Vrindavan, where they saw sometimes Krishna taking huge form but never disturbed. But Arjun got disturbed in the 11th chapter. He says, I cannot relate to you in this form. So all those fine details of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So more you know, more you understand that probably there's something more to know. And so, we have that attitude of foolishness, but not that we stay foolish. We maintain the attitude of a child, but we don't become childish. Hare Krishna. This is what little I understand.
Hare Krishna. I think you're hungry to know Krishna.
You bless me, Maharaj, and all my God brothers and friends here in the ashram, please bless me that I always stay hungry and always stay foolish and always eager to learn more and more. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Srimad Bhagavat Mahapurana ki jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.